Hey world, Mark Jones here with another episode of Motivational Mark. So before we get started with this video, as always, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button and also hit the notification button so that you can get these videos as soon as they are released on our channel. In addition to that, you can get the videos as soon as we premiere them. It'll give you a notification, it'll give you a heads up, a warning, so that you can be there as soon as that video drops on the channel. Beyond that, a little bit of housekeeping. Please forgive me if my voice is at all raspy. Since October, I have been going through the chief initiation process, which is a very challenging process on the road to being accepted as chief. For all my brothers and sisters out there who are accepted as genuine chiefs, I'd like to say congratulations, you made it. Hey, but guess what? There's still work to do, so let's make it happen. This week's episode is going to be entitled Missing the Mark. And the reason why I talked about missing the mark or made it the topic of this week's episode is because in the Navy, I have been a small arms marksmanship instructor since 2011. So about 10 years, I've been helping people learn the fundamentals of firearms safety and also the fundamentals of being able to hit their target as it applies to marksmanship. So that's super important in trying to achieve your goals. So when you're trying to achieve your goals, you want to ensure that you have set a destination for where you want to be. And that's one of the fundamentals of identifying what the next steps are, right? And that's that part of the sight alignment. You want to ensure that the things you are doing are in line with the goal you're trying to achieve. So when it comes to sight alignment, as far as a weapon is concerned, you're focusing on that front sight and that rear sight to be able to bring it all together. So one of the kind of ditties that we talk about in marksmanship is equal light, equal height. You want to ensure that the top of your front sight is aligned with the top of your rear sight, and when you're looking at it, that there's equal light on each side of that front sight when you're looking through your rear sight. One of the things you do is you focus on your front sight, which kind of brings that rear sight out of focus. And a lot of times I think we get so far ahead of ourselves in trying to achieve our goals that we forget about focusing on that rear sight as well, because it's so close. We feel like we don't really have to look at it as much. But that rear sight plays a fundamental part in your marksmanship and basically achieving your goals as a whole. Make sure that you're still identifying and looking at and re-looking at those short-term goals as they apply to your long-term aspirations. Principle number 2 is going to be sight alignment. So when you bring that goal that you're trying to achieve in with your sight picture and your sight alignment, when you put those things together, that is tremendous when you're trying to achieve that goal. Because what you're doing is all of those steps that you put in place from our first principle, and you bring that with your target, that's your sight picture. You're looking through your weapon, you're looking at your target, and you're trying to place your rounds downrange in a focused and acceptable manner. That is, it's very important that you do the fundamentals when it comes to that. Why? Because if you have a little bit too much finger or your breathing control is not under control, then you're not going to put those rounds where you want them to be at. It's going to take you a little bit off target. And those things that can hinder you when you're going down and you're trying to fire your weapon are definitely things, are representative of the things that you have in your life. So not having this proper sight alignment means that you haven't really looked at your goal and how that relates to the things that you're doing now and how you're going to get there, right? Having some of those people in your life that's negative can throw your sight alignment and your sight picture off. So we want to make sure that we are identifying where we want to be, identifying the steps that it takes to get there, because a dream without putting steps in place to get there is only a dream. It's only a mere thought. So we want to ensure that we have those two principles in place as we progress in life. So for our last principle, we're going to be talking about breathing control. The reason why I chose breathing control as our last principle is because it's so important to control your breathing when you're out there and you're shooting. And guess what? Breathing is the one thing that you can definitely control at the range. It's one of those variables that you have strict control over. When you're out there, you can't control what they're doing in the lane next to you. You can't control the wind, if it's going to blow your paper away. You can't control if you're going to have a misfire, or if your ammo is not going to, if the primer is not going to ignite. There's a lot of things you can't control at the range, and there's a lot of things you can't control in life. But what you can't control in life is yourself and what you're doing. And that's why breathing control is our third principle this week. You can control your effort. You can control how much you are focused on that dream and how much you are focused on that goal. If you focus on those things, you can do anything with the right focus, in the right direction, the right heading, and having the right people around you. So get rid of those distractions, get rid of those naysayers, and stay focused on what you want to achieve. Sight alignment is our first principle. Sight picture is when you're bringing those steps that you're putting down on paper and those things that you're identifying together. And lastly, breathing control is controlling you and what you allow to happen in your life. So, Mark Jones here, another episode of Motivational Mark. I want to thank you for coming to the channel. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and drop some comments down below, because that helps me determine what our next topics are going to be and to identify some of the issues that you're having so that we can talk about it and, hey, maybe even give you a little bit of advice that can help you get there. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.